Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Not Table Talk. We're calling it Table Talk, but we're not going to call it Table Talk. We're going to come up with a different name, or you can come up with a name. Put it in the comments. Let us know what you think it should be. And maybe it's just two old guys talking. My name is Shawn and Lee. In front of me is Lee Probst, the VP of North American Business Development here at Nutrex. And I am his lackey. I do what he says. He hits me with a whip. It's really scary. But we're going to talk to you guys today about something that's very near and dear to us. Something I premised a few moments ago. Getting old, bro.
Getting old. Dude, we both are. Like, I'm not getting any younger. So.
No, and neither am I. I do, depending on when you watch this, I do have a birthday coming up, and it's a big one. I'm not going to tell you what number, but it's big. So we figured what we could do today is talk to you guys a little bit about aging and what we're going through, and maybe something that's you guys are going through some of the same things. We're both competitive athletes. I think that's where we need to start this.
Let's start there.
We're not just pretty faces. We aren't just about show. We are about go. And so we both compete actively in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I had a history of collegiate football and professional wrestling, so I've had a long life of abuse to my body, and it feels it more and more. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I've noticed was recovery. Recovery takes so much longer. If I get hurt, used to be I would be hurt for 2 or 3 days. Now I'm hurt for 5 days, 7 days,
right? And
it just takes longer for that healing process to really take hold.
Yeah. I mean, I think that is just part of the aging process. It's kind of obviously proven. There's plenty of studies on that of how we age, how from just your overall metabolic health and what what kind of goes into that into the recovery. And so you have to do things that maybe you didn't do as much of before. Of course, first and foremost is sleep, like making sure that you are getting plenty of sleep. A lot of us remember going hard, playing hard and all that, and then going hard in the sense of going out at night and not getting any sleep, and then still being able to wake up and go back at it, the next day, especially in your, in your 20s. But as you get into your 30s, and then now, for me into my 40s and mid 40s, you certainly can't do anything like that. And then it comes into nutrition and supplementation more than ever, and so it's, making sure that you're supplementing with not only good proteins, having good macronutrients first and foremost, right? Make sure that diet's good and complete in the sense of your macros, your protein, your carbs, your fats. But then when it comes back into true recovery, one of the things that we like to talk about and that I like to harp on is the EAAs and making sure that you're supplementing with your essential amino acids, which are all there's plenty of studies out on those as far as recovery, rebuilding, sparing the muscle sparing as well. So recovery, it plays a huge part. And then testosterone, that hormone itself has so many different mechanisms in the body, and one of them does relate to recovery. So and as we know, as we age as males, testosterone starts to decline literally every year. I know there's a couple different studies that people cite, but it's pretty well known that as you get especially into your 30s, that your testosterone levels start to decline every year.
Well, I was diagnosed with low T in my early 30s, but that was my fault. Mm-hmm. Like most young, dumb kids, I experimented with the gear, as the kids like to call it, or the juice. What are you going to do? I was a professional wrestler. Don't judge me. Anyways, but I was using it more for the recovery than to get big. Mm-hmm. What ended up happening was during my professional wrestling career, I was just constantly just destroying my body, shoulders, knees. I had recurring sports hernias that I did nothing about except for take steroids.
Yeah.
And at one point I was on Decadurabolin for about 2 years straight without coming off. Ooh. And that, I feel, is really what damaged my system. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know I had a problem until my wife and I were watching TV and I started tearing up at a commercial. And now I'm pretty stoic. And so anything that gets my emotions moving is surprising. But it surprised her as well. So I went and got checked out. And of course, my testosterone was about 110, which is lower than a woman's.
Wow, yeah.
So I've been on testosterone replacement, hormone replacement therapy since about 34, 35, with, under a doctor's supervision and all that stuff. But I got to admit, it's just not enough. It's literally not enough. But I also know the trouble that I've gotten into before, so I'm not going back down that road, which is what the supplementation, where supplementation comes into play. I've been using, we don't have it on the table, though we do have some of our other testosterone enhancing, or what would you call it?
I mean, testosterone boosters are natural. They're kind of classified as natural testosterone boosters because they're going to boost your body's own natural production, get it up to the highest levels that it can get to.
Yeah, the one I use the most is the Anabol PM.
That's our nighttime. That's more nighttime muscle.
Yes.
Right.
Number one, I took it because I'm a bad sleeper. I am a terrible sleeper. Last night, woke up at 4 a.m. I was up for an hour and a half, fell asleep again at 6, and my alarm went off. I've always been a terrible sleeper. So anything that has sleep support in it, I love. So that's why I started taking the nighttime formula. But I've also started taking the alpha T as well, and again, I do feel a little bit more energetic lately, even when I don't sleep. Being able to get these, as you like to say, filling in the cracks sometimes is important.
Right, absolutely. I don't think, you certainly need to do everything you can to fill in those cracks, because you might not be able to get everything from just nutrition, right? Now, we're not going to take this off into the TRT realm. I myself am not on TRT. I haven't done TRT. Thinking about it, as I've gotten older, I've been able to, over the years, supplement with different natural test boosters. I respond well to them. Some people don't respond well. Like, as soon as I started trying Tribulus out, really in my later 20s, I noticed that I responded well to that. And then as like D-aspartic acid came on the scene, and there's a lot of studies about that, I noticed that I was responding well to that. And what I mean is yes, I've done some blood tests to see where the levels are at before and after, but to me it's more about that feeling, and like what you're talking about, where you feel like more energetic. You have that when we talk about testosterone and being at optimal levels, you have energy, focus, determination, life satisfaction. Everything ends up feeling better and working better, and then back to where some of this conversation started, you tend to recover better as well. And so you tend to sleep better, you tend to recover better, you're ready for that next training session, and now you're building more muscle, you're improving your conditioning for whatever that may be, whether it's sport or whether it be straight bodybuilding.
Yeah, and I think the problem with a lot of people is they look for that one magic bullet to cure everything, and they don't understand it's not just one thing. It's like, again, it's your sleep habits, it's your eating habits, it's your supplementation, it's your stress. There's so much that goes into your overall health, your overall energy, and it's something that a lot of people, they look for the easy way out, and they forget that it's not just one thing. Right. And that goes for anything that you do in life, right? Yeah. Anything that you do, there's very rarely is there the easy answer. Right. It takes work to do what you want to get done.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's rarely that it's just one answer, one thing that you can point to. It's typically a multiple issues, multiple things that you need to look at, whatever that is, like to your point as far as life is concerned. So, when it comes to, so that's where, kind of coming back around to like training as an aging athlete and still being very competitive. I've been very competitive my whole life. As I got into jiu-jitsu, going on close to a decade now, competition, it was one of those things that was, I had that itch for competition. So, I dove in, head first into competition jiu-jitsu, masters jiu-jitsu, and
Wait. For those that don't know, masters means old.
Yeah. So,
or anything over 30.
Yeah, anything over 30. But don't get it twisted. I'll get after it with these young bucks too. So, and that comes into it too, right? Like as you're training, I mean, our training partners, you got to keep up with guys that are literally half my age. I mean,
or literally, like in the case of the real young ones, 3 times younger than I'm triple their age.
Right. Yeah.
It's like wait a second.
Yeah.
And it's funny, you could see what that unlimited energy produces.
Yeah. Right.
And it's like, man, it really is true.
Yeah.
Youth is wasted on the young.
Oh, it is totally. But yeah, so we, so like for me, I mean, I have to hit it from all angles, right? Like I have to keep my strength and conditioning up. I have to keep my training up as far as sports specific training. So like my jiu-jitsu training, I have to keep that. I have to keep that on point, and then I have to keep my nutrition on point. My nutrition has to be dialed in almost all the time, and then my supplementation as well has to be dialed in. So I got to make sure that I'm, supplementing more with, with protein, with branch chains and EAAs, looking for other natural testosterone boosters, like we were just talking about. A great sport vitamin. This is one. The VitaDept is certainly where, if I'm not getting it all from my regular nutrition, which is tough, especially when you're very active. So, something like VitaDept comes in to really fill in those cracks to make sure that I'm getting all my micronutrients as well, which are very important to overall performance, health, not only health, but overall performance. I mean, I want to perform at my best every time that I get out, and especially when I'm performing in competition.
Mm-hmm. I just started the VitaDept myself. It's been about a week. I do feel better in the mornings. The problem is I've made a lot of changes, so I don't know. I can't attribute the better energy to one thing, and it may not just be the one thing. It may not just be sleeping a little bit better. It may not just be raising my testosterone, by a fraction, or the addition of those micronutrients that you find in, a multivitamin like VitaDept. But the bottom line is, yes, I do feel better.
Right.
But I definitely don't feel as good as when I was 26, as I was 24. And I think a lot of people our age are looking for that. They're looking for that proverbial fountain of youth that I don't think exists.
Yeah,
even in the gear. Like, I don't care how much testosterone you're on, you're never going to feel like you did at 20 years old, at 22, I don't think.
I mean, I think you might hear some people say some things like that. I think a lot of that is kind of marketing hype and everything. I mean, again, anybody who, when you see, in the, on TV or whatever, and they're talking that they're on on TRT, or they're on one specific product or whatever, and this has helped change their life. So I think if you really peel back the layers, you realize they're doing a lot to help improve their life. Like it's all of it together. It has to be, it has to be. It's not going to be just that one magic pill, or just again, not just the testosterone, things like that. It's going to be that I'm eating better, I'm sleeping better, I'm working out harder, and they're all related to each other, right? Like I want to have more testosterone to give me that drive to work out more and to recover better and to sleep better. But I have to, I have to combine that. I have to stack that with good nutrition and good training programs.
Yeah, and I just we've been around professional athletes, and we've seen what they do. Mm-hmm. Like, people don't realize that people that do anything high level, their job is their body, and they do everything mm-hmm. they can to keep it as functional and in an optimal shape as possible. And they're doing weight training, they're doing cardiovascular work, they're doing movement work, they're getting massages, they're doing ice baths, they're getting the correct nutrition. I mean, it's so much that goes into this.
Yeah.
And not everybody has time.
Right.
We're behind a desk, 8 hours, 9 hours a day. There's only so much we can do with the free time we have in the morning and the limited free time we have at night.
Yeah.
So it's like I've taken to, trying to hit the ice bath on the weekends. Research shows you only need about, 1 3-minute session a week plus some cold showers. If you could do more, it's more beneficial, obviously.
Right.
But to get the benefits, you only need 1 3-minute ice bath to kind of get that. So I've been trying to hit that on the weekends. When I also try to hit the sauna at least 3 to 4 times during the week.
Yeah.
That I can do after workout. That helps. That really helps with sleep as well.
Yeah, definitely. Sauna at night definitely will help you sleep. There's a lot of research on that. I mean, obviously your body's, as you've heated your body up, your core temperature is trying to now fight to get down, and so that's what's actually going to help you get to sleep. There's a lot on that. I'm a huge fan of all of that.
Someday we'll sit down with Joe Rogan and maybe he can explain these heat shock proteins everybody's talking about.
Yeah.
I have no idea what those are.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into that. But man, I mean, anyway, I think, as, for all the aging athletes out there, you've got to look at it in a holistic approach, right? So you've got to look at what your training methods are. Are you training correctly? Maybe you really shouldn't be lifting as much, going as heavy. Do you really need to do that and putting this extra stress on your joints and ligaments and things of that nature? Doing whatever you can to reduce injury and things like that. And then getting into good routines. That's something that I've been big on. I've written about it. Good daily routines. I'm making sure every day that I'm doing some type of movement every day, especially in the mornings, making sure that I go through kind of like a yoga style stretch routine to make sure that I'm getting kind of all the juices flowing.
Is that what all the little guys do?
That's what the little guys do. I know.
I was just wondering. If that's what the little guys do, is this morning stretch routine. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah. You're the one who taught me. Let's bring up what's old Diamond Dallas, right?
DDP yoga.
Yeah,
that stuff,
DDP
dude,
yoga, dude.
That
Big
stuff
shout
is
out,
legit.
DDP yoga.
Yeah,
DDP.
man, that stuff's legit.
So, but yeah, good routines and all that for for the older guys, and then again back to good nutrition, good supplementation, finding that holistic approach to it, to be able to continue to keep up with the young bucks and to compete at a high level and perform at a high level and just feel your best. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at these days. I want to feel my best on as much as possible.
So as we close out here, I'm going to do this closeout, kind of like the old murder Mary.
Oh no!
Whatever.
No, I was thinking the old. I was thinking something else.
Murder Mary. So, what is the one supplement that you would marry? Which one would you murder, and which one would you have relations with?
The one that I would marry. I'd probably marry EAAs.
EAAs.
I think I'd marry the EAAs. So now I gotta murder one. That means like I don't want it. Right? I gotta kill it. What don't I want? That's man, that's a tough one because there's so many that I like. But I'll lump them all into the one that I could, or whatever. That would be all my test boosters for sure. That's one. that would be it. The one that I would maybe murder. like a collagen or something like that.
I knew you were going to go collagen. In my head, I was going,
I don't
he's
know,
going to
like
say collagen.
maybe a collagen. I don't know. Like, it's like there's some benefits to all that, but it's like what's one that I could probably do without, that I get, some benefits from some other things. Now, it's like, with that said, I do supplement with some collagen right now. Like I do.
Well,
so.
In my world, I would marry protein.
There you go.
Marry protein. I would my EAAs.
Yeah.
And I would totally nix vitamin E.
Vitamin. Yeah. Okay. I can see that.
I totally.
I was like trying to go through some of these vitamins.
I said vitamin E. I meant vitamin D.
Vitamin D.
Because
all right.
I found that vitamin D doesn't work for me. I have to get it. I have to get injectable. Okay. I am vitamin D resistant when it comes to oral.
Interesting.
That sounded weird out loud.
Yeah,
I shouldn't have put it that way. But
we're gonna grab a clip of that.
No, we're not gonna grab a clip of that. Now, one more thing. So we're gonna go that same route. Murder, marry, exercises.
Ooh.
For the older gents.
For the older gents.
Which you are, because you're an older gent.
I am. I'm married to the push-ups every day. One that could probably, man, what do you kill? Geez, I don't know. Probably kill the lunge. I was
going to say, if you look at him, you'd probably kill squats.
Yeah. No, man. I crush my squats, and I would marry the squat. It is all about the squat. Squats.
You already married the push-up. You can't.
Oh, I would.
Okay.
I would. Yeah.
So
I would give it to the squat.
So I would marry the deadlift. I would the squat, and I would get rid of, or I would murder. If I was going to murder something, I would probably murder shoulder presses.
I can see that.
I've never gotten much out of them.
Well, there's a lot on those of. I tend to not do those as much anymore because they end up giving me problems, and there's a lot about that. There's a lot of other exercises you can do for overall shoulder development and shoulder health.
Yeah.
Now with if we're talking just straight bodybuilding, I mean, I think it certainly plays a role for me into functional fitness and all of that. Yeah, not a lot of shoulder presses.
Right.
Not just straight shoulder presses.
And as we close out. Again, what would be out of the four things on the table here, what would be the one thing that you recommend to somebody that's feeling like us? Someone's a little tired, someone's feeling a little bit, needs a little boost.
Yeah.
That doesn't come from a quick energy shot from caffeine, but something that comes from the inside.
Yeah, well, I think first and foremost would be VitaDepth. I think that gives you that baseline. I mean, that's the one, when people ask a similar question, like if you could only choose one supplement, what would it be? It would be VitaDepth. That would, a great sport multivitamin. What's your base? And then you can build up from there.
Yeah, well, there you have it.
Boom.
Well, thank you for joining us on Not Table Talk. Figure out what we're going to be called. Give us some suggestions. Put them in the comments.
Yeah.
If you can, please like this video, share this video, tell all your friends about this video. If there's a topic you would like us to cover or to research, we are more than happy to do that. We are technically a research company.
Yeah.
So let us know as well.
Yeah. And we'll be back with Chris, the infamous Chris Waldrum, probably on our next show.
Yeah, hopefully on the next one we'll be joined by the Golden Child. So until then, thank you guys for listening, and we will see you down the road.
All right. Later.